What if you could be a cybercrime superhero? In the UK, there's been a 1,000% increase in the number of attacks in just 18 months, and £4.6 billion was lost to hacking last year. So that's where you come in. There are over 12,800 job opportunities in digital technologies in Scotland, many of them in cybersecurity. It's well paid. The average cybersecurity salary in Scotland is £51,200. That's more than double the average salary. UK companies sell cybersecurity worldwide, and sales are growing by 15% a year. So a career in cybersecurity is your passport to success anywhere in the world. Find out more at digitalworld.net.
There are thousands of exciting cybersecurity jobs across Scotland. Entry-level salaries starting at £25,000 and averaging £51,200. Choose ethical hacking and run controlled cyber attacks. Investigate data breaches and help solve cybercrime. Or what about data security? Identify threats and test for weakness. There's so many exciting careers to choose from. Find yours. Visit digitalworld.net and become a digital human. Are you interested in a career in cybersecurity? Finding your path is much easier than you think. Learn at school in computing science or gain national progression awards. Choose from a range of cyber apprenticeships. Gain qualifications in cyber courses across Scotland. Or learn at entry level and gain experience. There are so many exciting options to choose from. Find your path. Visit digitalworld.net and become a digital human. Cybersecurity is one of the fastest growing industries in Scotland. You can earn an average of £51,200. Fight against cybercrime and work on exciting projects. Problem solve with teams and work on global brands. Good at thinking outside the box or analysing, or seeing things that others can't. Whatever you're good at. Put your skills to good use in a great career. Find your opportunity. Visit digitalworld.net and become a digital human.
What if you could be a cybercrime superhero? In the UK, there's been a 1,000% increase in the number of attacks in just 18 months, and £4.6 billion was lost to hacking last year. So that's where you come in. There are over 12,800 job opportunities in digital technologies in Scotland, many of them in cybersecurity. It's well paid. The average cybersecurity salary in Scotland is £51,200. That's more than double the average salary. UK companies sell cybersecurity worldwide, and sales are growing by 15% a year. So a career in cybersecurity is your passport to success anywhere in the world. Find out more at digitalworld.net.
There are thousands of exciting cybersecurity jobs across Scotland. Entry-level salaries starting at £25,000 and averaging £51,200. Choose ethical hacking and run controlled cyber attacks. Investigate data breaches and help solve cybercrime. Or what about data security? Identify threats and test for weakness. There's so many exciting careers to choose from. Find yours. Visit digitalworld.net and become a digital human. Are you interested in a career in cybersecurity? Finding your path is much easier than you think. Learn at school in computing science or gain national progression awards. Choose from a range of cyber apprenticeships. Gain qualifications in cyber courses across Scotland. Or learn at entry level and gain experience. There are so many exciting options to choose from. Find your path. Visit digitalworld.net and become a digital human. Cybersecurity is one of the fastest growing industries in Scotland. You can earn an average of £51,200. Fight against cybercrime and work on exciting projects. Problem solve with teams and work on global brands. Good at thinking outside the box or analysing, or seeing things that others can't. Whatever you're good at. Put your skills to good use in a great career. Find your opportunity. Visit digitalworld.net and become a digital human.
Hello and good afternoon. Welcome to Cyber Skills Live. My name's Daniel and I'm interested in all things tech and security. You're about to get hands-on and learn cybersecurity skills in this interactive activity. Our digital world is powered by technology. From exchanging messages to turning on the lights, we rely on tech every day without realising the impact and the power it has over our lives. We're totally dependent on tech and we really need to protect it. A career in cybersecurity means you'll play a key role in protecting our digital world. And in fact, in Scotland, for every 2 jobs in the area, there's only 1 applicant. So there's a huge opportunity for you to have an interesting career. We need more people with digital skills to help make us more resilient against cyber attacks. With me today on the stream, we've also got Craig and Kirsty joining in. Welcome, Craig.
Hello, thanks Daniel. And there really is a wide range of careers in the cybersecurity sector. Technology skills are really valuable, but this isn't just a career for techies. It's a lot more than just sitting behind a computer. There are jobs in marketing, digital forensics, legal, project management and more. It really is a career option for everyone. I'm here today in the Digital Den in Glasgow, and today there's over 300 of you joining us on the live stream. Also, cyber resilience expert Kirsty is here to join you and answer your questions. Hello, Kirsty.
Thank you, Craig. Hi everybody, my name is Kirsty. I'm the Cyber Resilience Community Lead at the Scottish Business Resilience Centre. So we work in partnership with Police Scotland, Scottish Government and the small business community to help improve Scotland's cyber resilience. And we are here today on the live stream. As Craig says, we've got lots of you taking part right across the country. So what I'm going to do is give you a couple of shout outs. So if I say your school name, please give me a cheer, whether that's in your classroom or if you're working from home. I want to hear you as loud as I can and see if I can hear you from a digital den here. So here we go. So Clydebank High School, give me a big cheer. I think I need a little bit louder. Clydebank High School. That's much better, thank you. So we've got Greenfields High School. We've got St Andrews and St Bride's High School, Stirling High School. We've got Uddingston Grammar, let me hear you. Excellent. And then we've got Wallace High School. Great. Lots of you taking part today. So yes, good luck in the lesson and I'll be here to answer some of your questions as we go along. If your teacher is taking part in the live lesson today, it would be great if you could share your photos and any tweets with us using our hashtag CyberSkillsLive. And if you want to tag us, we're at Digital World HQ. We always love to see what you're up to in your classroom, so please give us a shout out online. Back to you, Craig.
Thanks, Kirsty. Okay, what's happening now, Daniel?
I'm sorry to say, there's been a murder. Today, you're going to become forensic specialists and crack the case.
In modern policing, collecting evidence at a crime scene is more than just dusting for fingerprints or searching for strands of hair. In many crimes, there can be a trail of digital evidence that leads directly to the criminal.
In this interactive lesson, you're going to step into the shoes of a digital forensic specialist and use your digital skills to solve a crime.
Police were alerted to the discovery of a man's body in Bishopbriggs, Glasgow.
An eyewitness gave a statement that he saw another man leaving the office. The description of the man matches that of known fugitive Chris Mallum, who police are keen to speak to about a series of murders.
We have cordoned off an area for forensic examination as work continues to understand the circumstances around the man's death.
A piece of digital evidence was recovered at the crime scene.
Your challenge is to use your digital skills to solve the crime and help the police catch the murderer.
First, you'll identify, log and validate the digital evidence recovered at the crime scene. And then, you'll investigate the digital evidence to look for clues. Finally, you'll recover the key evidence to lead police to the suspect.
The case is fictional, but this is based on actual techniques and procedures that are used in real cases. Now it's time to start the investigation.
Follow the instructions and let's see if you can crack the case.
Brilliant, so let's get started. So make sure, if you're not already, you go online to cyberskillslesson.com and you're going to be following the instructions. So you're going to click on Start the Live Lesson and then you're going to follow the instructions that are on the screen.
Yep, so if you just open up any modern web browser, so that might be Google Chrome or Firefox or even Microsoft Edge, and then go to cyberskillslessons.com, you'll see how to solve a murder at the top, and then you can click to play along with the live lesson. So once you do, you'll see a screen where it asks for your first name, and that's brilliant. But what I'm going to do now is I'm going to share my screen and walk you through the first couple of steps just so that you know what to do. So feel free to play along, or you can work along at your own pace. So once you've gone to cyberskillslesson.com and clicked on how to solve a murder and pressed start, this is the screen that you'll see. On the left hand side, there's going to be questions and places for you to type in answers. And later on in the workshop, there'll be different images and other activities that you have to do over on the right. But the first thing it wants to know is what your first name is. So I'm going to type my first name in, which is Daniel. And once I've done that, I'll press submit. And every time you type in an answer, it says thank you, we've received your information. The next question is where are you from? I'm not joining from a school, obviously, so I'm going to choose that my school isn't listed. And I'll press submit again. This is a really fun bit. We've made some different avatars that you can choose from. And later on the stream, you'll be able to look out for your avatar appearing. So you can choose the avatar which you feel most speaks to you today. So I'm going to go with the person with flowers in their hair, and I'll press submit intelligence again. And this is the first sort of main question of the activity, and I'm going to read it out. So the first step is to log the evidence into our secure computer system. It's important we create these records so that we can prove the evidence collected at the crime scene is the same evidence that's being presented in a court of law. And it says the device collected is an external hard drive, and that's it here in this bag. And in fact, when you hover your mouse over the picture, you get a magnifying glass so you can zoom in and look at any details in particular. So what we are being asked first though is the type of device, and there's a drop down that we can log that into the forensic reporting system. So in here, hopefully we can find hard drive, and I'll click submit intelligence, and that's obviously correct because it says that they've received the information. The next question is who's the manufacturer? So let's look at the picture again, and in fact we've got one on the back now. So if we zoom in, we can see it says my passport for Mac. And that, I think, is the name of the type of hard drive. And I think the company that makes it is Western Digital. And I know that they make hard drives because that's what I've got in my own laptop. So what's the name of the company that made the device? I think it's Western Digital. And then you press submit, and that logs this into our secure reporting system. There's another question here, which is what the device serial number is. I want you to have a go yourself at it. And what's going to happen now is you'll work through these questions, and Craig and I are going to keep talking about it. So we'll go back to the cameras right now. Change.
Thanks, Daniel. I can see a lot of people are starting to join us. Some of you who have just joined in, that's great. Don't worry, you haven't missed anything yet. We're still working together to try and crack this case. So I can see lots of you completed an activity, and a lot of you are also taking part on the live stream as well. So got quite a lot of detectives online at the moment here, Daniel, over 200 at the moment, and that number keeps going up.
It keeps going up. I can see where it's about to reach.
So this is the very first step. The first step is about collecting and logging the evidence onto our secure computer systems. So it's important that we create these records so that we can prove that any evidence that is collected at the crime scene, so that hard drive that we've recovered, that evidence that we're collecting, we need to be able to prove that it's the same evidence that is then later presented in a court of law. So what types of things, Daniel, would we be sort of logging into the system?
Yeah, so at the moment we've asked for things like when was it collected. We'll also need to know where. Also the type of device is really important. And then also we're asking you to find the serial number. And the serial number is unique to that hard drive. So although there might be thousands of these Western digital hard drives floating around, if we know the serial number and we can keep checking that it's the same serial number as we will work through the process, we know that we're dealing with the exact same hard drive.
Brilliant. So just going to have a look and see what evidence is starting to come in here, seeing what you're up to. So I can see that Katie from Clydebank High School, well done, you've been able to identify who the name of the manufacturer is of the drive, so keep up the good work. And also Zoe from Clydebank High School, you've correctly got the serial number of the drive as well, so well done with that.
I see that Braze High School has processed 176 files already, so they've been really busy in the first few minutes.
Brilliant. Ross from Grangemouth High School, the type of device that was found, you've worked that out as well. Thanks for logging that into the system for us as well. And Olivia from Prestwick Academy, you've also managed to log in the exact time and date that the device was recovered as well. So that would be really useful too.
So it's really important that at this stage that everything is really accurate, because we need to make sure that we're really precise, and it's all about attention to detail. So it's really important that things are in the correct format. So in the police, we tend to use the 24-hour clock so that it's not ambiguous. So if you're having any issues with the entering the date and the time, just double check that you're using a 24-hour clock on the drop down.
I'm seeing some of the evidence coming in, and some people have accidentally put down 8 a.m, but really they mean, I think it's 8 p.m. they maybe mean. So as you say, Daniel, like the 24-hour clock, use that.
Yeah. So what you're doing just now is called the chain of custody, and sometimes that's also called the forensic link, or if you've watched a lot of like TV cop shows, you might have heard of the paper trail. And this is all about the documentation of the evidence that we collect. So it's about writing down what you do at every step. So we need to know who found the evidence, we need to know when it was found, and then when it transfers to someone else, and then what you do when you analyse it at every step. We need to have a clear log of everything that this hard drive has done, because if we don't, we can't guarantee that it's not been tampered with or modified, and that might mean it's inadmissible in court, and that means it's not useful or it couldn't be used. So it's really important that this step is done thoroughly and correctly.
Oh, definitely, because there's not enough police officers that are trained in collecting digital evidence. And basically what that means is a lot of evidence that could be used against criminals can't actually be used in court. So if you're doing this well, like I can see some of you just now, Bob from Braze High School, Jacob, Samara, Richie, Paolo, you're all starting to get in your answers right now.
And if you think that you could be good at this type of thing, then perhaps you could be, working in one of these digital forensics roles in the future as well. I have to say, Daniel, it's been great we've got hundreds and hundreds of detectives taking part today as well. I think, this is us giving us the best chance to try and catch this criminal.
Yeah, we've got over 600 detectives working on this case right now, which is a huge number of people. I can see that a lot of you are starting to do something called cloning the drive, and that's a really key step. Are you able to tell me a bit more about that, Craig?
Yeah, so cloning the drive, basically it's a bit like doing a copy of the drive, but it's something a bit more technical than that. It's what's called a forensic clone. So in a minute or two, what we want to be able to do is investigate what's on the drive. We want to look for evidence, but what we don't want to do is we don't want to tamper with or accidentally, destroy that original piece of evidence that we found. So instead, what you're going to do is you're going to create a copy of that drive, and it's a bit by bit copy. So it's an exact replica. Now, the problem is that this takes a bit of time to do. So I can see a lot of you have started that process, and hopefully within the next couple of minutes, more of you will be going through that. But this is really important, because what that means is we can then work with that copy and that clone, and that's the one that we will sort of investigate further, and we can look for evidence on that, because otherwise, it's a bit like tampering with evidence. If you arrived, at a crime scene, you don't want to be accidentally touching things or moving things or breaking something. And by creating that clone, that's a good way that we can protect ourselves.
Yeah, it means we've got a good backup as well. If you do accidentally make any mistakes or whatnot, it's really handy to have. Well, some of these some of these drives are cloning.
Excuse me, Daniel. There are hard workers.
Yeah. Shall we see if Kirsty's had any questions come in? Because I think we've had quite a few coming in.
Kirsty, has anyone sent in a question?
Thank you. Yeah, we've had a question in from Mirren Park, and they were asking if there's any travel opportunities in the cybersecurity field. So yes, I mean, any organisation that is looking for to improve their cyber resilience and security, if they operate online at any point, they need to make sure that their information and money is secure. So there's always going to be a need for cybersecurity experts. And a lot of companies outsource their resource. So actually a lot of organisations out west of Scotland are always looking for people to kind of help them with their cybersecurity. And I know that there's people there that work with companies overseas and abroad. So there's absolutely opportunities here to travel within the cybersecurity field.
Thanks, Kirsty.
So I know Daniel and I have both been fortunate enough to be able to travel as part of our jobs as well. These skills are really in demand across the world.
Yeah, it's definitely one of the perks in my mind of the job. Definitely had some various trips across the UK and abroad. Not so much this year, but in previous years, absolutely. We've had some tweets come in as well, Craig, I think.
That's right. Someone thinks that we're not live. I promise you, we're live right now, Mr. Douglas, in Queensferry Academy. This is important because this murder only happened recently. We need to be working together over the next half hour. So I don't want any non-believers. I need you all to be taking part and all to be submitting this evidence as well. So, Daniel, how are we doing in terms of cloning the devices?
I think it looks like pretty much everyone has got their drive cloned, so I think we're ready to move to the next stage of our investigation.
Great, let's move on to the next phase. So I'll bring up my notes. So what we've done now, Daniel, is we've created that forensic clone. I suppose what we need to do now is investigate that drive for evidence. We need to look and see what sort of things we can find on this hard drive. We need to search through it and see if we can find that, what it might tell us. Because when we recover a bit of digital evidence at a crime, and that could be a phone, it could be a USB drive, it could be a computer, we want to look for clues that might tell us a bit about, who owns that device, where have they been, who have they spoken to, and where might they be going if they're on the run. And certainly for this murder investigation, we want to, have an idea, what is this suspect doing? Are they on the run? Has he told us anything about the crime?
Yeah, so often hard drives contain so much personal information, and I think what you were saying there, Craig, about conversations is a really key one, because our chat logs contain all the information about maybe how we're feeling or what we're going to do, where we've been. I think that's a really good place to start. But before we actually start searching through the chat logs, we've got some steps for you to do first. And the first one is, you've created this clone, but what you need to do now is calculate something called the hash. And the hash is a bit like a digital fingerprint. So we've already calculated the hash of the original piece of evidence, the hard drive, which I've got here. But you need to calculate the hash of your copy, and then it's going to get compared. And if the hashes match up, we know that your copy is exactly the same and it's valid.
So I can see that Ravish and Ghost and also Holmes has been able to sort of start that process of going through calculating the hash as well. Also, Dylan from West Lothian College, you're calculating the hash as well. I can see that. So everyone keep going through these steps, working these things out. So I can see that this is still going through just now. Your hashes are being calculated, and some of you are moving on to the next step, which is mounting the drive. So basically putting it on a way that we can actually investigate what's on it as well. So let's give you another couple of minutes to investigate that drive just now. Well done, Armadale Academy. You've processed 44 files. In Grangemouth High School as well, you've processed some as well.
I can see that Chloe in Clydebank has just managed to mount the drive, which is great. I can see, who else have we got? Ronan in Clydebank has calculated the hash.
Millie as well, and Cameron from Braes High School.
Isla in Bertha Park has been zooming ahead and is already starting to investigate some of the chat logs. So what you're interacting with,
we're making good progress here.
It's some kind of terminal, and it's a wee bit different to your normal computer systems. You're not clicking on the files. You're not clicking on what you want to do. You're having to type the commands. And this is something that's really common with people who work in the tech industry. So although it might seem a bit intimidating, actually for some processes, it's actually a slightly more quick and efficient way of doing things. And it means you can build software really quickly. So don't be too intimidated. The commands are always there for you. And there's some tips that we'll give you throughout the lesson of how you can make it a bit easier.
Yeah, it does kind of make you feel like a hacker when you're using the terminal, doesn't it? You're typing in these commands. But as someone, Daniel, who's worked in cybersecurity before, like using these command line tools is, often the best way of doing it.
Yeah, because quite often these pieces of software, they're very specialized and they're only used by a small amount of people. So if you had a huge team to create this really nice, fancy interface, it would be really expensive, or sometimes you're in a complete hurry. So I've worked in the government, and sometimes you have to make software very quickly to process something. And it's much quicker if you can just do it to match typed commands.
I can see a lot of people are starting to go through the chat logs. Cameron from Braes High School has found something interesting, so I'll look into that a bit further. If everyone else could keep going just now, that's looking good. Jack from Arran High School, good work so far. And Callum from Clydebank, I can see you've been able to calculate the hash and you're now searching through the chat logs as well. This is really good. I mean, I suppose what we're looking for here, Daniel, is hopefully this suspect has had a conversation with someone. Ideally he said, oh, this is the murder that I'm planning, or this is where I'm going to go and hide out, or something like that. really the only way we can tell this is if you work together and you find this evidence for us. So keep doing that just now.
Yeah, I'm actually just looking at the list, at the chat logs that you've managed to find in the drive, and there's thousands of messages there. So you're going to have to search through these messages with some keywords to try and cut down the number of messages that we have to read, because otherwise there's just way too many to look over on in this hour today.
Let's give them another minute or so, Daniel, to work through that, because we're starting to get evidence through from people now, which is brilliant. We're getting so much evidence through that my screen is loading.
I'm just reading through the list of all these messages that people have been finding, and there's a lot of good stuff in there. So I'm going to take 10 seconds to read through them.
Have we been having any more questions coming in, Daniel?
Let's ask Kirsty. Kirsty, have you had any more questions?
Thanks, Craig. Yeah, we've had lots of great questions coming in. We had a question that was asking if they wanted to do this as a career, what subject should they be studying at school? So that's a great question. It's good for you to study sort of STEM related subjects at school. So I would probably recommend some of your science subjects like physics. Definitely mathematics is a great option. And if you've got a computing science club in your school, then absolutely computing is an excellent subject to study and learn a little bit more about this for your career, or even just for fun.
That's right, Kirsty. There's lots of highly paid roles in this area. So, you know, a career in this cyber industry might be something for everyone to consider.
Just while Kirsty was answering that question, I was looking at some of the messages that you have uncovered. And it turns out that Chris has had a conversation with a known criminal called Neville. And
A known criminal.
A known criminal.
Well, that's automatically suspicious, isn't it?
And do you know what they were talking about? They were talking about a hideout.
You're joking.
So...
What did they say?
Yeah, let me just pull up that message. So, and this is from basically the sort of about the time of the murder as well. So Chris Mallam, who's our suspect here, he sent a message to Neville that said, "I've planned my escape. I've just booked my ticket to the secret hideout."
That is, I think we would be very interested in speaking to him about this message to try and find out what this means. So, and did Neville send a message back?
Yeah, so Neville, who's the known criminal, he replied and said, "Good, I'll meet you there. Make sure you're not followed." That sounds very fishy to me.
This is brilliant. And do we have I think a few people have sent in these chat logs as well. Like I'm seeing Ava from Prestwick Academy has sent these ones in too. Just give me a second.
I see that Logan in Braze High School has as well.
Gino and Liam from a different school, Prestwick Academy. Gino from Prestwick Academy. Cara from Clydebank High School as well.
Yep.
Stella from Clydebank High School.
Kate in Prestwick.
So I think some of you have noticed if you're not able to search the commands correctly, it might be because you're making a typing mistake in the commands. I would say the best thing to do is to copy and paste the command in, because that way you're not going to make a mistake. But Daniel, I think we need to progress with this evidence that we've found so far. This idea of, you know, if we think he might be on the run, or, you know, we think he might be planning an escape, maybe there's something else that we can move on to. I think we should move on to the next phase of the investigation.
Yep, I agree, because we now know that this suspect has been speaking to a known criminal and they're heading to a criminal hideout. We need to find out where they're going. And
okay, so time is running out.
Yep, absolutely. So interesting, that message, they were talking about they've booked a ticket. And so that probably means they're taking the bus or the train, or I suppose it could be a ferry. Mm-hmm. I think we need to try and find out what this ticket is and where they might have booked it.
That'd be really useful, because if we can work out where they've booked the ticket for, where they're travelling to, we could probably communicate with the police that are local to there and intercept them.
Yep, and they probably booked it online. I think
mm-hmm.
that's a good assumption to make. So I think the internet history is the next step. So you're going to be looking through the internet history to try and find out more about this ticket and where they're going.
So follow the instructions on the screen. See if you can follow these instructions and find out his website browsing history. So I want you to try and find out what websites he's been on. I want you to find out where he's been and what he's been looking up. Like, are there any websites that he's been on close to the time that he was sending these messages? And I think that could be really useful evidence for you to uncover. So let's give you a couple of minutes to do that just now. I can see a lot of you are starting to do that.
We've had some great tweets come in as well. So you'll see that P7 in Rosebank, they're playing along in their classroom. You can see that Mr. Neil's class, they're all progressing really well as too. Mrs. McIntosh, Miss McAlpine. There's loads of you involved today, which is brilliant, because the more people we have and the more consensus in the evidence you're sending us, the more confident we are that we're correct.
Some great shots of people playing along. I've got an error message that's coming up here from the David Interpreter, and it's saying that people are typing in inaccurately. They're making mistakes when you're typing in. It's really important that what you do is that you look really carefully, make sure you're not making any typing mistakes. Don't rush it. We've got time. We've got another 15 minutes or so that we can do this, and just type in the instructions carefully, or better yet, copy and paste the command in. That'll mean that you're definitely not going to make a mistake.
Yeah, this is one of the downsides to having a terminal that you have to type in. You have to get every single letter correct. There's no margin for error, so copying and pasting and double checking, because you don't want to send the wrong command. That could be dangerous.
Remember, L's might be ones, the other common typing mistakes like that. I can see from what people are typing in that a lot of you are doing well, but some of you just need to be a little bit more accurate when using the terminal.
Yeah.
Some of you are starting to find some interesting websites here. So Kazim, I can see that you've found a website. Ghost, you've found a website. But the thing is, you don't need to send me the website. What you need to do is you need to go onto that website and you want to look and see if there's anything interesting there yourself. So if you found an interesting browser web, a URL, why don't you copy and paste that into a new tab and see what's on it?
Yeah, so what you need to do once you have changed the directory, so after you've used things like CD and ls to get the big list of website history, of which there's thousands of different websites, you then need to use the grep command, which is the same type of search that you had to do on the text messages, but this time you're searching through the web history, and you're going to search for the date, which is the 26th of October, but the command's already there for you, so you just have to copy and paste that into the terminal, and hopefully there'll be a smaller list of websites that you'll be able to look at, and hopefully there'll be something interesting in there.
Let's give people another minute or so, Daniel, just to work through that. Thank you for sending in all your intelligence. A few people have started to come up with where they think the suspect might be heading. That's good. That's good. We'll need to wait till we verify that across a few different people. Great. This is looking good. I can see Fionn from Prestwick Academy. Looks like you've had a guess, but I don't think it's as accurate as it needs to be. Make sure you type in the full name of the place that you think this criminal is heading to. Make sure you spell the name of the place correctly. It's not enough just to say an area. You can't just say something like Dundee or Glasgow or North Ayrshire. I want to know the exact location. If Daniel's going to get on the dispatch and send out the police, he needs to know exactly where to send them to. So keep working.
I've just run a search myself, Craig, and I can see that there's 5 different websites that Chris was on the 26th of October. And one of those websites was for Scotia Rail, you know, the company that runs the trains.
The train company, yes, Scotia Rail. Yeah, obviously.
So I can see it says /booking confirmation. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to open up that. So I'm going to copy and paste that link into a new tab and have a look at that booking confirmation, because I think that could be some really great evidence.
Yeah, that's a good idea. Open it as a new tab. So is it a ticket? What is it?
Yeah, I've just opened it up, and it's a ticket booked for Thursday, the 29th of October, 2020.
Daniel, that's today.
That is today.
Daniel, that's right now.
Okay, well, this train left at 10:10 this morning from GLQ. Do you know where that is, Craig?
I know where that is.
Do you?
GLQ is the station code for Glasgow Queen Street.
Okay, and this train hasn't arrived
That's not
yet.
far from Bishop Briggs. That's not far from Bishop Briggs.
Okay, well, this train arrives at 4:12 p.m. So that's in about an hour and a half's time. So it's not arrived yet. So he's on the train right now.
Well, where's he going?
To DNO.
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 Is that like the station code?
So I think that's a station code.
I think we'll need to have our digital detectives look into that further. So keep answering the questions. See if you can work out what station it is he's travelling to. Jasmine thinks it's Glasgow. No, I think they're leaving from Glasgow Queen Street. Mackenzie from Beeslack, it starts at Glasgow Queen Street, but where are they heading to?
Yeah, I can see that Jack and Beeslack and James as well I've been guessing some other stations, but King's Cross isn't DNO, it's KGX. I know that. So maybe have another.
We're getting
look
all
there.
the stations here, and it's not Swansea either. So keep answering these questions. Let's see if we can narrow it down a bit here as well. There's a lot of the same answer coming in, Daniel. I think I'll need to look into this a bit further, but I want to investigate. Is that even a station? I'm going to have to check. It's not one that I recognise, but the answer's coming in a lot.
Yeah, let's see.
While I look into
that looks like it's a link actually. So maybe it could be clicked on, because it looks like it takes to the sort of National Rail Inquiries page, and that shows you the timetable.
Well, while I look into these answers that are coming in from everyone, Daniel, maybe you could see if there's been any other intelligence or questions.
Yeah, let's see. Let's pass back to Kirsty in the meantime.
Thanks. Yeah, we've had a question in about what kind of role this would be if you were to do it as a career. So this is a forensic computer analyst. So it's somebody that would be working with the police and lots of these sort of investigations. So you would be helping maybe to recover valuable stolen data on behalf of a client, for example. And the sort of 3 tasks that you're likely to do within this role is investigating and reporting on data breaches and other hacking attempts, recovering online and computer-based evidence for use in criminal trials, and understanding the latest cybercrime techniques and developing new counter strategies in response. So the average salary for this type of role is anywhere between £25,000 up to £60,000. So this is a really exciting career opportunity if you were to go down this route. Back to you, Craig.
Thanks, Kirsty. Daniel, I can see a lot of the answers are coming in. Have you had the chance to sort of process it? What are you thinking?
Yeah, I've been checking it out. I've had a look to see where it is on the map. It's up in the Highlands. And
so let's get this right then, Daniel. So where do we think this criminal is heading? What is the answer?
Looking at, I think it's got to be Dunrobin Castle.
Dunrobin Castle. Brilliant. That is all the answers that I'm having on the screen here. I think that's it, Daniel. I think you'll need to send the dispatch team.
I'm on it. Let's see. Let's get them dispatched.
So well done, everyone. Thank you for sending in all that evidence. There is no way that we would have been able to analyse that entire hard drive within that short space of time if it wasn't for the hundreds of people taking part as well. So well done for all the people who are coming in with the right answer here. So I've seen Matthew, Jordan from Clydebank High School, Sean from Prestwick, Ella from Beeslack Academy, Jack from Beeslack Community High School, Grace from Clydebank High School, Ronan from Clydebank High School as well. You've all got the right answer so far. Thank you very much. I think there's even more coming in. So what we're going to do now is, before we wrap up for today, we do have one more task for you to do. So what we want to do is get you to fill out a short bit of feedback form. Let us know what you learned today that you didn't know before, what you enjoyed about the activity, and anything else that you've sort of experienced as part of this. So we're moving on to that next phase now, and you'll see those questions coming up on your screen. So it'd be great if you could take just a couple of minutes to fill that out. Daniel, have we got a few more people who are coming in with the right answers as well?
Yep, I can see quite a few people. So Deshma has got it. Callum and Clydebank has got it. Zahara at Armadale Academy have another go. I can see that Emily and Callum, they've managed to get it together. Maya has got it. Jack and Aaron has got it. There's so many people coming to the same conclusion that I think it has to be right.
Brilliant. So exactly, Daniel, this has been a fantastic afternoon. Thank you for helping us solve this. I tell you what, see when you have how many people have we got currently taking part just now? Hundreds. I think we're actually breaking the totalizer. There's that many. But it's been great to see people from right across Scotland and also around the world as well. So hello for those who've been taking part in Texas, in India, in Pakistan as well. Thank you for joining us.
So there's a group from Nigeria as well who have been joining and taking part.
That's brilliant.
Yeah. So today you've gained lots of new skills. You've thought about like the paper trail and collecting all the evidence. You then had to clone a hard drive. You calculated the hash, and then you investigate it in a few different ways. So you followed the evidence. We found a suspicious text message, and then we found out, okay, they must be going somewhere. Okay, the web history. And then you've managed to find relevant web history out of thousands of different websites, all in the space of half an hour.
Not bad. Not bad
at all.
One period's work. Hopefully this has made you think about, all the different careers that are available in the sort of digital world as well. And if you want to play more of our activities, you can do it on cyberskillslesson.com. And Daniel will be back. Is that right?
Yeah, we're going to be back in 2 weeks' time for another activity. And this time we might be going over to the dark side, and it's going to be how to steal a pizza. So if you want to learn a bit about penetration testing and about how different hacks might take place, then join us then for How to Steal a Pizza. But in the meantime, thank you very much, Kirsty, for answering everyone's questions. Sorry we couldn't get through them all. We were really busy with our investigation today. And thanks for co-presenting, Craig.
No problem, Daniel.
And thank you everyone for joining, and we'll hopefully speak to you again soon. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.